And speaking of the media driving things, a couple more things. I just want to thank our media partners tonight who helped hopefully drive some of you here. That would be the Santa Barbara Independent's done yeoman's work for us. We appreciate News Hawk and the Santa Barbara News Press, so I want to say thank you to them. Now we have a special treat. We have Dr. Larry Madin, who is the Director of Research at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. He's a pioneer of jellyfish and oceanographic research and blue water diving. He's worked all over the world with jellyfish and has been at the forefront of promoting jellyfish research, which I'm sure at this point you can appreciate, and oceanographic education. And he's currently, Dr. Madin is interested in many issues relating to the ocean, including understanding the role of coastal and open ocean jellyfish in global carbon cycles, again, carbon, and whether jellyfish blooms, another word that we're hearing a lot of, are increasing worldwide. And I was wondering if Larry would join me on stage. I'm going to ask Larry some questions. See, I'm as MC, I get to ask all the questions I want, and then later on, feel free to let you ask your questions. Kathy, Kylie, and Rob have all kind of touched on aspects of this next question, but I would like you to make it crystal clear. Why should I care about the status of jellies?
Well, I think we saw a lot of reasons from the presenters why we should be interested in them. The diversity, their longevity, the extent to which they occupy our oceans, the role that they play in the ecosystem, whether it's relating to fishing or relating to the regulation of the global carbon cycle. So there's a huge importance for these organisms in our ocean. The other thing I'd like to remind us of is that the place where they live, the Earth's ocean, is the largest living space in the solar system. Most of this planet is an ocean planet, and these animals, these jelly animals that we've been seeing, are in a sense, the most typical inhabitants of planet Earth, even though to us, they seem as alien as you can imagine. So we may think of them as being beautiful, we may think of them as being dangerous, we may think of them as being fascinating, but from the point of view of planet Earth, they've been around here for over 500 million years. They have become integrated into every aspect of the global ocean environment. They are probably helping to regulate a lot of the things that make our ocean a relatively stable place for other organisms to live. So I think it's easy to be interested in them, and I think understanding their importance in the history of life on Earth and the way that life on Earth goes on now is a reason for us to care about their well-being.
Well, what about you? You've spent 35 years now neck deep in jellies. I mean, what drove you into, what interests you in them?
I think like a lot of people, I was fascinated by how strange and bizarre and how different they were from us, or from the animals, the kinds of animals that we're accustomed to seeing on land, even compared to many other animals that live in the ocean, like fishes or crabs, things that have backbones and legs and so forth. These are just sort of bizarre blobs of jelly, and yet they've been so successful. They've diversified into so many different environments. They occupy so many different niches in the ocean habitat. They've lived for so long. We've seen the size range from millimeters to meters. And they've all done this with the simplest of body organizations, mostly made of jelly and a little bit of tissue and no brains. And yet they have evolved complex behaviors. They have eyes that in some ways, some of them are as complicated as some of our own eyes. So there's a fascinating history here, and that's what, to me, makes them, it's almost like studying creatures from outer space, except they're right here in inner space. They're that different and that fascinating.
Now, we saw some of the things that we can do to monitor what's going on with jellies, but I'm wondering what we as humans should be doing, we as individual humans should be doing in regards to jellyfish, and whether they're increasing or decreasing. I mean, are there things that we should be doing
Well, I think that we can gain a great deal by just a better awareness of them. I think we learned tonight that there are 3 major different categories that we're sort of all calling jellyfish, and they're quite different. 2 of those categories, the ctenophores and the thaliaceans, don't sting at all. So if you were to go to the beach and you found that it was all ctenophores, you wouldn't be worried about swimming there. So there's information that the public at large can learn to make them understand better what the differences are and what effect different types of jellyfish might have. But I think that the other thing that we can do, as we just heard from Rob, is that because so many people do spend time near the ocean and at the beach or out boating and fishing and so forth, that they can help us understand the changes, if there are changes going on at jellyfish, by reporting them, by being our eyes and ears in the ocean. There's only 20 or so of us working on this, so we need all the help we can get. And if people want to contribute that kind of information, it would really help us to understand better what's going on.
So the little data point that I might provide, jellywatch.org, actually matters.
Well, it absolutely does. We're working on a worldwide map now within this project that is going to plot where the different species of jellies have been seen to occur. And I can tell you that there's a lot of white space on that map right now because scientists just haven't been everywhere. And the more that people who have an interest in this can help us by reporting that they saw jellyfish somewhere in Southern California or in Northern Australia or wherever they might happen to be. By the way, we need data from East Africa, so if you're going there, let us know. That can really help fill in our map.
Well, next time I'm in Tanzania, I'll make sure I keep my eyes open. Besides questions about their numbers and questions about climate change, what are some of the other great unanswered questions about jellyfish?
Well, I think, like I said a moment ago, I think the fact that for organisms with such a simple organization, they have developed some really fascinating, complex adaptations to life in the ocean. We saw a little bit of the example of bioluminescence. Jellyfish have very complex patterns of bioluminescence. One of the things that they have contributed to human society, in fact, is one of the proteins that glows green in a jellyfish. It's something called green fluorescent protein, and it is now widely used in medical studies and as a tracer that enables people to conduct medical research. We stand to gain a lot of understanding of how nervous systems work and evolve, how primitive muscular systems evolve, and there's scientific knowledge we can gain from this that would potentially have benefits to human society and human medicine. But the other thing I think is fascinating is just that these are really practically the oldest inhabitants of Earth, and here they still are, and they give us an insight, a window into the earliest stages of evolution of life on the planet, and we can learn a great deal from that.
Is it safe to assume that there are jellyfish species we have yet to encounter?
Oh, certainly so. I think if you, some of the video that we saw, some of the pictures, and people like Steve Haddock and others who have worked in the deep sea find that when you explore different parts of the ocean, you always find something new. And there have been scores, perhaps hundreds, of new species of jelly animals that have been discovered in the deep ocean in the last 20 or 30 years. So, and we're not through with that yet. Only 5% of the ocean has been explored. So there are many, many more of those out there, including really big jellyfish, siphonophores. We heard a little bit about siphonophores, which can be 100 feet long. So there are many, many surprises for us still.
Given among the ones that we do know about, what's your favorite?
Well, it's hard to pick a favorite, boy, when you see all those pictures, you know. But my favorite really are the thaliaceans that we just heard a little bit about in Kathy's talk. They're not jellyfish in the sense of the other ones because they are more complex animals that are related to chordates, are related to human beings in a way. But they are the main thing that I've spent most of my career studying, and they don't sting. That's a nice thing about them. And they sort of swim through the ocean, vacuum cleaning it up. They eat all the phytoplankton, they eat all little particles, and they actually can play a major role, perhaps in helping us to control global warming and climate change, because they are an organism that helps to transport material carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere into the ocean and down into the deep sea. So there are a lot of fascinating things about them. I could go on about their sex life and all the rest of this, but we won't.
Wow, and my favorite was the box because they sting. I just thought that was cool. Now I feel like my reasoning is really informed. Larry,
You wouldn't think it was so cool if they stung you, believe me.
Larry, I'd like you to stay on stage for a little bit, but we're going to move on to a different aspect of the program right now, and I'm going to ask Emily Yam from the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach. And by the way, these fabulous species, these fabulous samples and jellyfish in jars that you've seen are here courtesy of the Aquarium of the Pacific. But the aquarium, once again, is based in Long Beach, sponsored the International Jellyfish Art Contest. And we have some prizes and some to hand out and some recognition for some of the young student artists. And I use the word global a lot, and I'm going to use it